All right, let's get started. Okay. Anyways. Where did I shove all those torches? Okay, that's all stored away. That's now all stored away. Probably don't need to top this off, but I mean, $17.99 out of okay, yeah. 17 out of 2,000. 18 out of 2,000, give or take. Hmm. Why does that seem low? Did I? No. Like, I know I've been using them fairly liberally, but all right. I should have a completed crystal over here and another one queued up. Right, the mutton. Sure. I can deplete that for the moment. I'm unlikely to fill that up this early in the mod pack. Alright. One. Huh. Scavenger. Gotta slaughter some bunnies. Look for an 8 and cash in. Alright. Purples. You see red gummy bears. That's a reasonable speed to have to chase around for, like, beer cloud. Hmm. Gotta remember to well, do. You can watch the progress bar up in the top corner. How long is it going to take? And I got nothing out of it except for the quest completion, but that marks off that quest completion. Am I still stuck on the living chest rolls? Yeah. It was probably a dumb bounty to take up anyways at the time. Ow. Gilded is gilded. Or gilded. In theory, I should actually focus on, like, what I need for completion. But at the same time, I need, the assassin mobs to spawn at some point, so setting off spawners starts generating these, at least. And, like, I've already cleared out this point of interest. Might as well make sure that I collect something from it, right? That's empty. Get your butts over here. Small children. They're trying to eat my ankles. Still no. Little guy has a flower. Good for little guy. Very pretty. There we go. I was going to say, these are almost certainly going to be the biggest problem, but... Two of them in 4 chests. I got... Okay, so that's not free. Because that's still, like... 20 something spawners or whatever. Yeah, 8 to 10 need a total of 13, so yeah, minimum 13 spawners in 17 minutes. Not actually impossible or even really difficult. But given the fact that I'm going to kill apparently a majority of them with my face instead of, I don't know, a weapon, it's going to be tedious. We're going to come in here and buy this orange. Okay. I don't check for the altar scroll or altar chest quite as often as I probably should. Secret, maybe. All right. Do 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 do. That does not appear to be lit up. $74. Yeah, like. Oh, yeah. At bio challenge ratings, you just get less time. Like, yeah. Because time is a reasonable balancer for something like huge quantity that's a majority of time just influenced by the spawner sizes, which are entirely based on level and not difficulty. Except for, with, what you call it? And when something has a tedium level of 200 across everything, you have to do 200 tasks minimum. Well, not minimum, because you can do the 30%, and then, like, if you assume 30%, you're at 140. Anyways, there is, I believe that's an ornate secret, like 100% of the time. Unfortunately, you can't tell by sound whether that's sports or not. It is. Anyways, this one's always fun. Assassin chicken. Assassin chicken. Okay. Yeah, like, I am looking forward to getting 100% trap disarm. Did I even bother to read what that one was? Probably not. It's like, okay, yeah, I might be able to turn around and do a second one if it's as free as this one was. Because you're just going to get hordes eventually. Double cheeseburger. Okay, no next level burgers yet. Ornate. Let's go ahead and head downstairs. See if we got any coins. Dweller mobs, yep. And there we go. No on the coins there. 2 stacks of regen on mana. Yeah, I will pay 14 for a knowledge star. Like, that's a very decent price for that. Alright. I got some speed, so let's double back. Like, if I'm lucky, it'll be like one good point of interest, like 2 stacks maybe. We'll flip this whole thing. This unfortunately doesn't have like the LED lanterns, it has the soul lanterns. Mango? You're not supposed to get those this early. Those are an after 50 thing. Cheeky. Cheeky. Anyways. I can always, in theory, come back and press that win. That's where that guy went. When I've got coins done. 7 minutes to do that. Ornate. Wooden. Ornate. Ornate. Wooden. Sometimes I think, okay, maybe I want to get, like, Hunter at some point. You know, like, I know that we made it so that it's dash bullet is physical damage, but I honestly, coins, cool. I honestly would love if we got a physical damage Stonefall variant. Like, okay, yeah, it's nice to have 100% damage reduction, but I'm a tank melee build that loves jumping around a bit. But if you gave me the option of ignoring damage partially. Okay, no, those I'm not worried about. Like, bonus ones, maybe. And, like, yeah, those could be a better size category. But I also know that I don't have to be overly greedy about it because we got the endgame ones are like size 5 greed to look forward to endgame. Ow. Anyways, I have a dungeon I've already opened that's low difficulty. It was what? Not this way? Yeah, I was wrong about direction of travel. Like, honestly. I'm uncertain where I am. I have made poor decisions. Oh, just change your zeros off of that. That would be smart. But then I have to remember what room it actually attached to. And I've now wandered through several extra rooms. Okay. Returning for this one is middle? Middle? Or no, up. Okay. Fails the dash. Because of course I'd fail the dash. Because to be the bleeding edge of mobility, you gotta push that Kaizo. Get your happy butt down here. Yeah, I know you're scared of me. Okay. Women. Probably did not end up picking up. Two more points to spend someplace. Let's keep mono regen going. I found one of the living chest scrolls. And like, okay, yeah, I'm still chasing Echo, so like probably the Echo is worth chasing still. Kiwis, Echo. Alright. Things that go in there, go in there. 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 That makes sense. Things that go in there. Anyways, something appeared to deposit. It's that. Topped off essence. Eventually I'll start like making bags out of shells for some of these things. Echo gem. Yay! That's just enough to make a mega torch. Which wouldn't be too bad. Not doing too bad. Let's see. How's my index doing? Have the UPA, have the Painite, have the... Okay. I'm free and clear to just break these down. Break it down now. Wait. Fails to break it down. And it was this one. Heal up. Okay. Of course wooden chunks are still overflowing. Just optics. Okay. Had to double check. See if the stupid thing had rolled any, whatchamacallits. Chaotic gear from the, like, 4... Oh. It didn't deposit because it didn't detect any. That's a big difference. Books need a drawer. But I'll deal with that later. Alright, I need... According to the Great Pillar, diorite, potato, mutton, and emerald. Potato will be over here. Switch off the magnet, otherwise I'm just going to be throwing potatoes into my own bag. just... Let's see. What's nonsense and what's... Well, first off... Like, I do plan on, at some point, these getting swapped out for, like, sophisticated chests and getting them attached to the storage. But I've got some digging to do so that the walls, the two walls of barrels will actually have, like, all the spaces. But I also need to figure out what I'm going to do for walkways to them and stuff like that. Okay. Potato crate? What do you mean it's not automatically working? Oh. To deposit the moss, put it in the moss box. Because moss has its own box. Sweet blossoms and serene blossoms do work on the altar, so they get to go in here. Those aren't asked for by the altar. These are asked for by the altar. Eventually, so... In they go. Nonsense box, because I can't be bothered to finish putting up my RS. Even though technically it was the first thing I unlocked. But I also haven't, like, unlocked anything power-wise. So I'd just be stuck with whatever the base one is. Which of these stupid boxes did I stick the chisel in? Because Buildscape keeps having the planks, and it's like, okay, cool. I can't put those in my storage until I unchisel. Thank you very much. Okay, this is one of the hard decorative potato crates from Quark. Yeah, Quark doesn't make them hard decorative, but the mod, like, he was worried about people using them as a exploit system early on to, rather than farming, just collect those whenever they showed up in the stuff, and then I swapped to the thermal ones and blocked the Quark ones from working, which is funny because the Quark ones you just can't craft, or not the Quark ones, the thermal ones you just can't craft if you don't have thermal. You can unpack them all day long. Let's go. I need 13 diorite. And that should have ended up in... Yeah, that's more than enough. Throw it there. Deposit. One I definitely don't have 30 of yet. Because I have not bred up that stupid sheep enough. Wheat is in the organics, farmables, stack of wheat. Let's go identify and figure out how much of this I'm scrapping. The answer is probably about 90%. The boots might manage to pull off a good enough, and the pants might. Not these pants. I'm telling you, like, living absolutely carries. So depending on what I roll, maybe. Don't care about wands. Don't care about mana regen. What? This, boots. We were going to... Let's see. Okay, so 6% resistance matches us. Health is the same, but I lose effect avoidance. Mana regen's better, healing's better, and it's got better durability. I really like effect avoidance, but I will... Like, I'm nowhere near 100% across everything. Let's see. 15, 30... 40. So I drop below half effect avoidance, but I've got no other source of it besides... So I go from 53 down to 40% chance of dodging effects. But I keep the resistance, get a little more health, not a ton. And I get better healing efficiency, mana regen. And an improvement to movement speed, which most time it's like, okay, that's not probably going to be too worthwhile, but I'm also at what? Ooh, fancy. No levels of speed. So push the button to visually update. On previous updates, it would just do that on its own, and you wouldn't have to push the button, but... Right. Why in the world would I put emeralds any place but inside that enchanter? So when I need to turn in one emerald, guess where it's going to be? The enchanter! Anyways. I need to use the button. And, I need to use the It's Somebody Else's Problem box. This is somebody else's problem. Honestly, do not worry about that. They are, in fact, using the chromatic in their build, and have, I've been sending it to them, and they've been fine with it. Me doing the somebody else's problem is just... Well, honestly, the excuse of mailing random things to other people on your server going, this is your problem now, so that you don't have to stick it in whatever I have going on right there, or whatever cursed thing this is. We're going to ignore the family member box, right? Everyone, remember, completely ignore your family members. They just get to live there until you decide you need to actually produce something with them. Oh, I really have not gotten started on sheep. Next batch is 12. And the next batch after that is 18. Heat up. Pigs are the most well-fed, but that's because, like, rabbits, you gotta give them carrots. Pigs, you gotta give them, what you call it? Well, you can give them, beetroot, you can give them potatoes, you can give them carrots, like... Now, the question is... I am far enough away from the bag suppressor. Okay. Bag suppressor lives in the back corner of that thing. I've been needing to move these. Tropical fish. Yeah, see? The bag suppressor worked that time. Let's grab out these little bundles of nonsense. And this bundle of nonsense. Like, in theory, I also want to eventually get, like, all 16 colors of sheep. Theoretically, theory versus practice is, well, yeah, you guys get fed. You do too. All right. All right. Like, even if pork didn't have that feature, hitting it with, like, twerker will work just as well. So, all right. I've sheep to feet on Fish to reach. Fish to reach. 28 of those. Wheat seeds. Potatoes. Carrots. In theory, I could put, like, tool racks. Even number, even number. Like, I know technically it's a little bit ridiculous to be careful about losing one wheat seed by feeding it wrong. At the same time, alright. That's empty. It's going to be like, I'm out? No, that's because these dang things don't have the converters. Because I'm not spending that on principle at the moment. Because nobody has showed me how it's 9 times or even 5 times more powerful than a standard compacting drawer. Oh, but you see, you can work with much larger sizes of total. Carrots. Because of the fact that you could multiply these by going up the tiers, right? You go up the tiers and your base stacks greatly increase. How many base stacks is a gold? Let's see. 3,072 is, I think it's right about 3 chests, give or take. $48 slots. So, they have yet again gone to a different numbering system, noting that, like, okay, so, like, yeah, that's 96, but you see, 96 is not divisible by 27, despite the fact that, what was it? The tier before it was exactly 2 double chests worth. This is, yeah, like 27 to 48, and then it's like it can't make up its mind whether it's going to use like modded powers of 2 or unmodded Minecraft chest sizes for a number of stacks, and it's like, So from the 32 it started at, okay, 32 to 48. So it's gotten 3 times bigger across the upgrades there. From base to gold tier, I believe that one is. Yeah. Which, like, you can't even read them here. Of course, after that we have to go to this thing. Like, pogs. Cool. And then netherite. Which, like, 2 of those, so, like, that's 12 pogs. And 8 echo. Like, yeah, it also gives you the most upgrades, noting that each of the upgrades then you could, if you have the what you call it, the universal converter lets you go back and forth, and I believe 3 packing upgrade or like 3 multiplier upgrades with the yeah, up to 16 by 16 or whatever, which, like, these are expensive, but you could do them at late game. Why you necessarily want to do those in limited barrels, noting especially, what is it? These are only, like, you don't get the stack upgrades or anything like that. You get the upgrade bases to start crafting your stack upgrades, and you get the void upgrades. But you only get the tier upgrades in the mod boxes directly for doing anything with yeah, 33, so I need a half stack. I got so distracted, everything is feedable again. Rabbits. I can be lazy about rabbits. Pigs need a stack -2. And, like, once I get them up to, some people might bug me, but, like, I like having 128 full stacks of animals in a single pen for long-term storage for each of these. Like, I probably don't need that if I do 16 colors of sheep. I probably don't need 16 colors of sheep because like, the altar never asks for a specific color of wool, and I'm rarely the builder of any group. Like, okay, yeah, it's good to have at least some kind of dyed sheep because you can do some fun tricks with at least a couple of the the mods, like thermal expansion. I think you can spin the dye out of wool, so you can technically supply your vault altar with all of the diet requests by just spinning your wool into white wool and then feeding it like the purple or the pink or the red or whatever color sheep you have. Brown. Let's go compact these. Snide. At some point, I will actually make that farm into a proper cactus farm. 57 means 56 wheat. And once you're feeding it a full stack, it does not matter if there's an odd or an even number in the pen to start with, because you can't get any more than one stack fed. Half again, half again. Close enough. Potato. Okay. Chickens are next. They're on an even number, so I can be lazy about it. Riveting gameplay. Feeding animals in pens. Let's see, what other animals do I need? Eventually I need to catch some turtles. Okay. Mutton, chicken, rabbit. At some point, this is going to have to merge with the rest of the stuff, because, like, honestly, this over here versus that over there, and it's like the whole thing. But at at the same time, this also will convert this section here from random chests and a smelter and like who knows how much experience is in there into a into one of the RS cores, I think. Yeah, I was going to stick the RS system here with the drives all in this chunk so we could run cables for them to access over here, because that should always be loaded by their main part of their base. So there won't be any issues about whether or not the base is getting loaded while they're, or whether or not the storage is getting loaded for them to access it. You know, you could be much more productive with this time if you were doing something like also mining the area or whatever, and just wandering back from time to time. Not too bad, about what I would expect with, like, I've got some gripes about some of the changeover balancing and whatnot, but that, like, any time they make some kind of change, they either make it far too powerful and then, like, overcorrect, or they start out, like, far too bad and you might get them to, like, adjust it to be more reasonable later. But right now, some of the upgrade costs and paths for, like, the refined storage system, or no, not refined storage, sophisticated storage system, like, it's really powerful, and this is not an unreasonable cost. The, what is it, 8 Echo? Sophisticated second, first page still. Like, there's 4 pages, right? Here it is. This is not necessarily an unreasonable cost, except, like, you got to remember how much the Diamond Barrel is, which is the series of upgrades here, which technically, most of these you can get in the other stuff, and it will work with any type of barrel, although it will only auto put the barrel in the recipe if you actually use an Acacia one, but you can manually put a non-Acacia diamond barrel into the center of it for crafting it when it's being done like that. Or you can use, like, RS and manually put in, like you have to for when upgrading pouches and whatnot. But, like, this, This one is not worth 9 times its non remastered counterpart. This one, maybe. Maybe you can argue about that because, like, you can get 9 chests of just the compression to that, or 10 because the diamond cost. But, like, the absolute amount that can do is 5 slots, and that's if you put it in the upgrade slot, and then it takes up 5 slots and compresses the same way you would for like a compressed the old compress drawers. But otherwise, like, yeah, like everything's going about as I expect. I would prefer a couple more hot fixes. I'm a little disappointed, just like it's going to be a little bit annoying the fact they put out this remastered just before they're doing the VH4. And, like, okay, arguably it's a test run for, like, what they might want to do as adjustments for VH4. And they're like, oh, like, we want the best version possible. Well, the problem is the only way you're going to get the best version possible out of this is if you give it a couple of update cycles too, which means where you've been talking about like VH4 coming out, you need to make sure that this also gets refined quite a bit to make it worthwhile. I probably fed the pigs too much. ASMR. Pig death. Honestly, that sounds a bit like a band name. ASMR Pig Death. Okay, fun to know. Rabbit foots are not expected to be anywhere in, wait. Red dye doesn't go over there. Red dye gets mixed with white dye whenever possible. Keep my pink drawers going. Then the red dye goes in there. Well, I don't have an overabundance of white dye, and vice versa. No Iggy's yet. Like this, you stick it in a drawer properly and you can do things that actually make it worthwhile, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 37 times 18 vault diamonds. $41. And like, I haven't even necessarily put up all the things I want to compact yet. Like, am I going to compact diamonds? Am I going to compact iron? Am I going to compact gold? Am I going to compact emeralds once I set up easy villagers? Am I going to compact my raw chromatic iron or any of my raw iron or raw gold or anything like that? And if each and every one of those costs 18 vault diamonds compared to the 2 each one of those would cost to make a standard compacting drawer in non-remastered, I'm going to go broke. Like 44. Looking at the vault things that I had set up over here, I did the count. It was howdy howdy. Let's hit the caps lock. 44 to get all this to work under old compacting drawers. And it ends up as 416, which, like, $416. And I'm supposed to also use these on knowledge. How am I going to have any way of using these on knowledge too? This is for compactings, for just the compression, and less than 4 if I need to make the other one. And that notes that I've made both of those using that recipe, so like I know how much they cost. And like you might say, oh, you've already put a bunch of the little 2 ones in some of these. Like, see, that one already has a 2-1. It's compressing great. Cool. The next time I try and put away the meat chunks, I have to manually put them in, because if I'm using a deposit upgrade set to match inventory contents, and this inventory slot has completely compacted, it doesn't register that it can go in here. Topaz shards? Sconce? Which means I get to, instead of unloading them normally from my bag, I get to put them in manually. Which is why I do want to actually put like the converters instead of just the smashers in these. Like, it might seem a little bit ridiculous. Why in the world would you need that? And like, it would be ridiculous if, say, I could apply this on a chest and make a decor chest, but it's only the first 5 slots of an inventory for at least the first one. I haven't crafted another one because, like, I'm already down 38 vault diamonds into the 2 3x3 category ones. And that's to say nothing about the fact that I went ahead and went, okay, fine, I will deal with putting in some of the 2x2s. And like, yeah. Oh, why don't you just convert the whole thing into using the using one big chest? Like, I haven't stuck to using drawers since season 2, just for in season 8 to get pushed out of them so that I can do whatever this is, but with all of my vault stuff too, for the rest of time. At that point, I should just hook up a couple of bags because the bag upgrades are easier to convert back and use elsewhere. Hi, sir. Bye, sir. Something. Everyone loves rewinds. Or reruns. Because at this point, I do not appear to have any other arguments for anything in this mod pack. Besides, this whole thing is done. And, like, there's also a couple cases where, like, some of the recipes need fixed. Because currently you can't auto-convert the clay balls like the old compressed... the compression for the old compacting drawers would let you do. Switch off the magnet, then... To take the rock off, you have to have an empty offhand, too. Yes, it's annoying. Yeah, I'll have to make some drawers for those, obviously. Pearls are in the mob drop category. Eventually, I will have to put those into drawers as well. Anyways, no clue if you're actually still there after asking me that and waiting for me to rant about things. But, yeah, I've got some opinions. They're not necessarily the best, but at the same time, they're not necessarily completely unfounded nonsense from left field. And, like, I really do hope that, Remastered sees a okay. Modern technology and the changing GUIs mean every time something changes, if you have somebody older working with it, they might not know both halves of dripstone, string, and apples. Okay. All that already exists somewhere in my stuff, because I keep stealing the apple crates from in the vaults, and string is easy to get, and every time with the dripstone, I'm just wondering where in the world I would end up getting any. I would probably have to go and find some. Maybe one of these days I'll set up some farming for it, but it's just like so hard to find. Alright. Reset the scav bag. We need it to... This one's mean. Anyways, at least it's one each of the rare ones, but it does mean that I need to make sure I focus down and not get quite as distracted as I did last time. Why don't you have it void? Because if I have it void, I can't pick up. Apple crates. 16 gilded chests. That seems like it's probably within the amount I will need to get earrings eventually. Spider soul charm. This is living. Drowned hide. One. You can follow me down here. Miss. Okay. Nothing there. Nothing there. A very uneventful first room. As far as, like, total number of points of interest that were worthwhile. I will 100% want to come back here if I get the completion squared away. Empty jar. Okay, that's just the wooden one. This is wooden chests. Ornate. Ornate. second living chest scroll. That gets me echo gems in that bounty. Wooden. Ornate. Ornate. That's fine. I'm currently healed up. And I can heal my mana amount by killing some mobs to get boosted regen. Saddlebags? No. Okay. Am I even doing it right if I don't absolutely whiff on a boosted jump? Okay. Let's go ahead and swear. Okay. What? I thought those were always 4. I was so confused. I was like, where was the 4th symbol? Where was the 4th symbol? I was absolutely expecting to have to guess for the 4th one. Alright. Drowned hides are 100% sorted, but I need gilded. Less than 10 minutes left to even sort gilded for the favor or room. Not Champion's Domain, is it? No. I guess it's... Alright. Next room, next room. Gotta check the next room. Gotta check the next room for Gilded. Eight. No saddlebags yet. Living. Wooden. Alright. Next room it is. Basket. X mark. Square vault. Fear cloud, shocking it. All of it's working against me in this room. But you don't get that great of refining at this level. I think I'll probably get enough gilded down here for the completion, at least, of the god task, but it was one of the lighter ones. the purple particles from the vault keep throwing me off because in this room normally that means echo. Alright. Exactly one vertical -8 to get out of it. Tempting. I either got extra damage or more soul shards. Three tanks in that one. Rude. Yes, you are rude. Bonk, 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 bonk. Thanks, guys. Well, I'm already poisoned. Alright. Don't think the assassin mob spawn rate for this theme is quite high enough that I would want to try a 7-minute run on assassins. Unique vault ores potentially if I wasn't still seeking the 2 one-ofs extremely annoying to get. Oh no! There went my, what you call it? Anyways. That's the right way to deal with that. Yep. Living, wooden. Out of the way, guys. Coins. Next room. I need ornate. I need gilded. Miscellaneous Voltors. Nope. Not going to do that. Okay, wooden. Wooden. Just a bunch of wooden. That's wooden. That's wooden. In theory, I probably should have just moved on to the next room already. Living. Alright. Fails a dash. Has to take like 5 seconds to walk back around. Wooden. Wooden. Like, to be fair to the whole thing, I need, what, 1 fortune roll? U-shaped hole in the wall, my beloved. Coin. Ores. Wooden. Yeah, this one might be a dud by those two being what they are. Okay, fine, I'm spending fruit on the stupid vault. Ornate, ornate. Ornate, no. Gilded, already solved gilded. Ornate. Gilded. Wooden. Wooden. Ornate. Probably a poor decision, but you know. I need 1 saddlebag, 1 black mob essence. That looked like living. Gilded. This is here. Not an ornate secret. Not doing shops right now. Was it this room or the previous room? More back. Two more back. And then it was up. Wooden. 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 Gilded. Ornate. Like, this is already not a profitable completion. Used up more fruit on it than I have a hope of getting back. Especially because oranges are the highest the crates will give pre-50. At most, I can get 3 lemons, and that would be an absolutely god-tier roll on the crates. Didn't roll the ornate secret there. War room. Let's move along home. What the? I hit him. Bull. That's bullshit. Saddlebags. Nope. Clutched it. Absolutely ridiculous. 100% not worth it. But okay. Out of lemons. Down 3 oranges. Like, I got a mango out of it. Okay, 1 lemon back. No oranges back. Yeah. Certifiably not worth it. Alright, let's rearrange my inventory again. 2, 1, there we go. These go back in here. Lost bounty. Mine some Larimar. Absolutely. I'll do that. Knowledge essence for a absolute crap ton of chromatic. Alright. I think next expertise is bartering, because I don't plan on re-rolling bounties by taking them and abandoning them. And I'm too stubborn to just, like, quit out of most bounties anyways, so... Alright. Nothing really notable in that. Like I said, that one should be easy to finish. What do I put a skill point into? Yeah, let's get Arcana capped off soon. Those are repeats. I've already got them encoded, so I can just warp. Sure. This is the problem with using those. Especially because each of those, if I put in a full stack, like those just came out as, they're not going in their slot after that again. Because it'll just auto-compress them. Look, auto-compressed. Which means I get to do this again next time. And, like, this one at least ended up with an odd one. So, next time, the topaz will go away. These ones, I haven't put those in because, like, no. Like, the number of those that I put those in already, like, okay, yeah. At that count, maybe the one that applies to the entire chest or whatever works well, except you need the 3x3 version for knowledge or soot. Otherwise, you have to come over here and do the hard, laborious task of pressing the button. The quick button that came pre-installed with the mod pack to compress the stuff. You gotta be careful with it with these, though. You need to do these off a crafting table when you do that. Otherwise, you're going to end up with boards instead of logs. So, like, you have to make sure you're doing this here. Otherwise, you're going to make a bunch of boards instead of these. And then what are you going to do for putting things away? All right. In case I ever need to make another bounty table. Well, yeah. What, you've never run a vault out to the very last second? By complete random circumstances of what fruits you decided to eat? And the fact that you found one absorption pylon? Like, honestly, if it hadn't dropped me the earrings in that one ornate, my thought process was, yeah, like, I'm not going to use any fruit if, like, I'm down both the saddlebag and the earrings, and then it just, like, here's the earring, because when it comes down to, like, the Epic and Omega, especially pre-50, they're actually a little easier than the rare stuff, as long as you're, like, just hitting the points of interest, because all you need is one damn lucky roll. Once I get going on a season, I end up with about an 80% completion rate, and because I'm on casual, have been since back when, like, you just had your gear shatter instead of having to pay gold, which, like, if you got soulbound gear, that just meant that you paid for the soulbound up front rather than paying for your gear every run. They got rid of that, and now all you lose is the experience, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be too worried about death. versus like survival. Because if like I was worried about survival there, I would have had to have been booking it a couple before that, and there's no way I would have turned up those last things. So, like, survival there would have been like, yeah, no, there's no way you can clutch it because you just. By the time you decide you need to survive, you've given up any chance of winning at that point. And when you're not running any speed stacks yet, that's going to be like, okay, you won't be... You just won't. You just won't have enough time. Like, you'll be shaving off 2-3 minutes to run back with... I've got an 8% speed boost from my boots is all. And then, like, whatever my dash gets me every cooldown timer, which is not a great amount. And that's if I don't biff it. Where did I shove? Somewhere around I've got the vault steaks that I'm not even bothering to eat. There they are. This goes in the nonsense box. This goes in the nonsense box. Nonsense box. Nonsense box. Nonsense box. Nonsense box. One of these days, I'm going to have to upgrade the nonsense boxes some more. They're running out of room. Carbon needs compacted. My drawers aren't supposed to be overflowing like that. Yeah, that's one thing I'm going to be annoyed about with this is if I don't have the auto compression going, the only deposit what can go into this can redirect from non-voided storages to the voided ones or the miscellaneous ones if they've got space, but right now all right, carbon, taking this back. It does not get to keep that, not yet. All right. Concrete powders go in the colorful chest here. And by that I mean I need to assign red to it too. Eventually I need to get my wall of colorful up. Like I do every season. Eventually. I think it ends up one layer down from this. But I need to figure out what my walkway situation is between layers as I do the stairs down and stick I think I'm going to stick a couple of rooms inside this to stick some sophisticated chests into this area to act as like the sophisticated gear or whatever. And then the controller there is actually going to get moved to just under that torch, because that would put center, gives that far corner and that plate there corner status, along with right there, and then some cornered status down there, and that gives me a good control over where my storage room is for messing around with decoration and whatnot. And because I don't have trim, I can't quite take advantage of the old cube I like to build, because I can't line up the corners. Oh no. Probably not getting another vault in before I'm done, unless I immediately cut and run a unless I immediately cut and run a resource vault. Nonsense box. Which, like, those are technically completion, but at the same time, you are not required to do completion for, or they're technically survival, but you don't need to survive, especially not on, like, casual difficulty. But I've got a compass, so it's easy enough for me to get back out. And since there's no experience anyways, literally, like, the cost of me dying is I don't get the I don't get to keep my 48 vanilla experience levels. I get soul shards. I get the raw loot. I'm looking for a pick-a-rang, but that requires Enigma chest. Crates. Stick stacks. That was not my sword there. That was not helpful. My brain goes, ooh, ornate. As though we aren't just dealing with, yeah, every chest is either hardened flesh or Enigma, with the rarity of the point of interest and the carved status of it having no bearing whatsoever on what's inside of it. As far as chests go, and ores are ores. I love having a block thorn shield. Legendary on the thorns, but like block on the implicit. So it's like you hear them hit, and then it's like, nope. They exploded. Sand. No. Anyways. Honey bottle. Okay. It's like, what in the world would you give it that ding? And it's like, oh, right. Yeah. Honey bottle absolutely is rare enough in those. Let's finish bugging the ones up here, because I didn't. Yeah. Really want my dang Pickering. It's supposed to be part of my daily carry. But unfortunately, I had to spend most of the echo getting the storage system going. So I didn't have quite the convenience that I would on previous seasons to start my drawers and get a controller. Hello. Using just like pogs and black chromatic, because the controller required echo and extra knowledge and whatnot. Like, I don't blame it. It, like, absolutely it's powerful enough with the drawers included. But at the same time... Alright. Time to break into a vault. Flesh chest. Best ASMR, right? That has a decent chance of a decent number of them. Converted coin point of interest. That is one of the fun things, like... Anyways. It confused me so much the first couple of times I got that sound effect from Shocking. Because, like, I've had cases where, like, you'll get a lightning sound from something else. Or even, like, leaking particle effects across vaults and things like that. So it's like thunder. It's like, is it raining outside right now? Asks the other person who's currently in the overworld. And the answer is no. That means that you shocking hit a mob into another mob. Noting that you can get shocking off of thorns. If you've got shocking on the weapon and it's in your hand as you take the thorns damage. Or give the thorns damage, I should say. As they take the thorns damage. Small child. There's another small child at least. Alright. No enigmas yet. Sads. No amethyst in the wall. Already rated that one. I'm fairly certain we didn't spot any enigmas on that one, so I can leave that one behind. So I don't want to climb up to it, and I don't want to deal with the extra work of getting the timing right on a dash jump up to it. Alright, boys. Get your butts over here. But yeah. When restart happens, I'm probably just going to call it for the day, just because I'm using the restarts and the streaming as kind of pacing. So I don't pull, like, ridiculous 12-hour days or whatever. Try and do some other activities too. Cinnamon roll. I remember what? Really early in the... when they would... I could have sworn that they'd had, like, the, ancient debris. It's, like, labeled as waxed to argue why in the world it could potentially be visible out touching air. It's because it's not touching air, it's waxed. Alright. That's down. Now for up. Upsies! Could you imagine if on Raw Vaults they started making like Raw Vault dungeons? Not like full dungeons like in the regular sense, but like a Raw Vault variant on the dungeon concept. like, here's hardened barrels, and flesh barrels, and the ever-elusive Enigma barrels. Noting that the Enigma chest already acts like a barrel as far as, like, the quality of the drops. Oh no, so many books. Whatever will I do? Alright. Bah. It's fun. It's whimsical. Yeah, it's great. Let's totally put a motion effect into a game where you've got accessibility options like remove view bombing for the accessibility of people who, I don't know, might have motion issues. But I'm sure, like, it'll never come up that somebody ends up in a worse state because they had the motion effect from that. Like, most people aren't going to have a hard time of it, but some people... Like, there are some conditions where that's going to mess up their whole day. And the fact it's not tied to the base accessibility option of no view bombing is potentially a problem. Hush, boys. You're being noisy and unhelpful. I need an Enigma chest. Coin point of interest. This one is living. This variant of it. Ornate secret. Again, under the same general thing that the chest type and quality is not whatsoever tied to the type of one. The only thing you might get is a decent density, especially for the fact that the spawn rate of the chest is not guaranteed. Four out of 8 spawning spaces there actually succeeded. And, like, coin points of interest need to be like that anyways, because converting them from coins into chests at a 1-to-1 ratio of every single coin point that could have spawned a coin automatically gets a chest? No. Every chest point probably would be better, but dang. I mean, the self-imprisoned skeleton gets to remain. That's just easiest. Alright. And like I said, there's, like, I'm going to gain nothing if I do a survive rather than a die right now from the raw vault. Oh no, I'll lose the 70 marked levels. Okay, it technically shows up as a defeat on my vault completion statistic, but given the fact I also avoid putting survives onto those is a point of principle. Well, not even a point of principle, it's a point of being a sweat, apparently. Sand. Like, it's actually like regular sand, not any other modded sand or whatnot. Which actually makes this like one of the best resource points of interest. You have a shovel right there in your inventory. Yeah, but you see, that's where if I turn up a dig site. In a raw vault? Flash. Aw, that one didn't also die by being defeated. Okay. Animal. Alright. Gunpowder 6. That's flesh chest. Alright. 3 minutes to find an Enigma chest. Something successful. Skulk sensors pouch. Dang, no Pickering yet. But I turned up one Enigma. Four chests. Four chance. Oh. And like this is one of the carved ones. It already has loose chances on its points of interest. So like I wasn't guaranteed a good amount even without the rolled percent chance of no chest that the raw vault gives, because the underlying gilded it's replacing there isn't guaranteed. I need to make a scaffolding drawer. Even if it just ends up getting fed to furnaces. Alright. 46 seconds. Let's do some mining, see if we find any more debris. No. Okay. Looks like we're just going to wrap it right here. Bye, 70 levels. Oh well. Okay. Yep, that's where books are. And cobwebs. Alright. Then we stare intently. Coal. Torches. Torches. These burn just as long as a coal does, so oops. Scaffolding. You see, that's why I don't like the new pickup. I don't like the new pickup upgrade, or the new pickup notifier, because it doesn't tell me I got my Pickering. Because it only shows 5 slots. So if this dropped early, I don't get to see it. Anyways. I got my Pickering. I got my Pickering. Time to immediately spend resources that probably could be used elsewhere on it. And by that I mean next time I get on, because I don't want to find out if it can despawn my Pickering if it restarts as I'm putting it away. Alright. I got a bit to put away next time. But I'm going to call that there. And the server will call it for me. Bye. You were supposed to finish restarting, server. Server. There we go. All right. Did I even manage to update the day on the display? No, I did not. This was day 16, not 15. Done. Anyways, I'll catch you some other time, too. Always good to have lurkers rather than just bots. Any suggestions for lunch? It's okay if there isn't any.